Peace, love, and light. And today I want to talk about rewriting a story. A story that many of us tell to ourselves, and we don't realize that we're telling it to ourselves. And that's a story that goes a little something like this. Every time I take a step forward, I have to take 3 steps back. And in telling ourselves this story, we actually recreate this story over and over again on our journey to get where we were trying to go. And we start to believe that anytime that we do something, there has to be some type of obstacle in the way to stop us from getting to where we want to get to. And we have to do this to get to where we want to get to. When in reality, that's not true. We don't have to believe the story that things have to occur before we can prove ourselves worthy of our end goal or our destination. And what we have to do is really get out of the idea of thinking that we're not worthy of our end goal. We're not worthy of the thing that we seek. It's the stories that we tell to ourselves that cause us to be stuck, and we don't have to be stuck. All we have to do is have faith, and the work that we put into having faith is what actually causes us to reach our end goal. It is not the obstacles that will get you to your end goal. Of course, that will make for a great story, but at the end of the day, you don't have to believe in the story that every time I take a step forward, I have to take 3 steps back, because the 3 steps back could cause, like a lot of people, it causes a lot of people to give up on their journey. But you don't have to believe in the idea that you need 3 steps in the first place, 3 steps back in the first place. Just believe that you're able to move forward without having to go through all the obstacles. You're able to get past your would-be roadblocks, or roadblocks that you believe have to be in the way without them even actually existing. You can actually do things and get things because you are worthy of these things, but you have to believe that you're worthy. Like, these stories only exist because we believe that we are unworthy of the things that we seek, when in reality we are worthy of the things that we seek, which is why we start to vibrate those things towards us. Like, the inspiration to go for the things that we go for is the awakening up of a vibration within inside of us. And in waking that vibration up inside of us, we magnetize that thing towards us. And in magnetizing that thing towards us, depending on our belief or our faith, it could cause that thing to come to us quickly, or it could cause that thing to come to us through a slower process, a process that will refine you. It will make you a great person if you make it through the obstacles. But a lot of people get tripped up at the obstacles because they believe the roadblocks to be permanent. They believe the roadblocks to be things that they can't get beyond. When in reality, these are just the things that we tell ourselves that we have to go through to get to the thing that we want to get. But in believing that you are worthy, and in having faith that you can have that thing that you're seeking, you can actually remove the roadblocks that you believe were there, like the illusions that you believe were there or had to exist to stop you. And that just comes from like really cleansing out your system, like your mind. Like your mind believes that these things have to happen before you get to these things, but you have to understand what's in your mind first. You have to understand what you're navigating through inside of your mind. Your mind is a dark place that has many great things in it, but you have to understand when you're going through your mind that sometimes there are things that you don't expect to meet you. Hold on. There are some things that you don't expect to encounter that you encounter because you haven't been through your mind enough to carve your own path. And the path that you have to walk through is through doubts of the past or doubts that come from other people that you observed or you saw other people go through, or you thought that other people had to go through these things, so I have to go through these things to get to what I needed to get to. For me, I would say this would be like school, like going to college to get a degree. Well, for one, anybody who's ever been to college, you know that you have to do a certain amount of courses before you even get to your coursework, the stuff that you actually want to study. And a lot of times, by the time you get to your coursework, the stuff that you actually want to study, you give up on your path and you change your major. This is something that I went through like maybe 2 or 3 times in college, where I ended up changing my major because I just got bored. And I ended up like prolonging my time in college because I didn't want to go on the path that I thought that I had to go on to get to what I wanted to get to. And by the time I settled on a path to go through, I really put work in, and I really got to my goal. Like when it got to the end, I really was like putting on a heavy course load because I really wanted to get it over with. I was learning a lot of stuff in the field that I wanted to go in, and I was really good at it, but I really wasn't into it until I got into the coursework. And I say all that to say that those are things that were like outside forces that were acting upon my journey to get to where I wanted to get to, but that built up a strong belief system in me that told me that I had to go through certain things to get to the things that I felt would have rewarded my life at that point in time, which having a degree would have been my reward in that point in my life, where I believe that those things were what I needed or what I was seeking in this world to be successful. Of course, I don't believe that now, but the story still exists. And it just really took me today really noticing that the story still exists. And even in this very moment, it was a revelation to me to understand that story was a prominent story in my life that I had to let go of. I knew that there were obstacles that I believed to be in the way, but they were invisible obstacles. And the reason why they were invisible obstacles is because they were something that I no longer see as an obstacle to get to my goal. And the obstacles that I just mentioned aren't relevant in my life now. However, believing that I have to wait a certain period of time, or have to do certain things, I have to work hard as far as learning a bunch of things to get to my goal or my reward is not necessarily true anymore. I could literally learn or obtain a skill quickly and get to a goal that I need to get to. I don't have to spend years doing so. That's just the way my life is set up now. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a skill that you have to get to either. But I'm just saying, like in this instance, it will be the case because what I'm learning now actually is kind of something that I can apply quickly. And I've always had this idea that we should be able to go to school and be able to apply whatever it is that we're learning immediately. It shouldn't take years and years, 11 for us to apply the skills or to be qualified to apply the skills, because that just wastes time. And we don't really have time to waste if you think about it. And that's a good way to see if you're getting your money's worth when it comes to what you're learning. But that's just my way of thinking. And yeah, it's just a story that I wanted to really let go of and really rewrite, because I don't believe that story anymore. I don't believe that I have to go through so much to get to my goal, my reward. And my reward would be being an entrepreneur, having a seven-figure bank account or more at this point. I don't believe that I need to go through so much to do so, because a lot of things are more accessible to me. And I didn't have to pay like thousands of dollars I didn't have to pay thousands of dollars and go into debt to do so. It's been a risk as far as like, spending money, because anytime you spend money to trade, of course there's going to be some amount of risk, but it's not as much as a college loan. Well, I'm sorry, a student loan, where you're paying this amount and then you have to pay the principal and the interest. When you invest in something, you actually see a return from it. And in seeing a return from it, you actually get the benefits of it, because at the end of the day, we are seeking money, but like freedom in the form of money. And since we're seeking freedom in the form of money, we have to, do certain things. I lost my train of thought. But we have to do certain things, and that's just kind of what it has been for me. Like I really understand the difference in investing in yourself and going into debt. I see going into debt to go to school as more of a risk than spending money to invest in a stock or an option where you could see returns that could pay you for the rest of your life without you having to pay a loan back to anybody. Like, you can do it totally debt free. And that's what I see investing as. Investing is probably the best thing that has ever happened to me. Like, learning to invest in myself, like even the small things. Learning to do that helped me tremendously. And I'm glad that I finally found a way to do so. And the only thing that is kind of funny now that I think about it, I wanted to learn investing before I went to school, and I didn't do it because I wanted to make other people happy. And in making other people happy, or thinking that I was making other people happy, I ended up being in debt because I wanted to keep up the appearance that this is something that I wanted when it wasn't something that I wanted. What I really wanted was to live a life that I agree with, live a life that I love. And I was really learning to do that already on my own before I even got the opportunity to go to school and to fulfill somebody else's dream. If I would have worked on fulfilling my own dream, of course I would be in a different position than I am in life right now. But I'm not complaining about life. I'm just saying that to say that make sure you are living in your purpose, living in your own lane, walking on your own path, because your own path is the only one that you're meant to walk. You're not meant to walk someone else's path, carrying on their baggage, their luggage, their idea of what it means to show up in this world and to be somebody in this world. It's like if you want to go somewhere, you want to be somebody, you better wake up and pay attention. And I say that because you have to wake up to the idea that you are yourself, and you are meant to live as yourself, and you are meant to experience your own experiences, not really listening to what someone else has to say about your life as far as how you should live it. Of course, it's okay to take advice, but when you are fully taking on somebody else's ideas and you are taking and they are technically then they're living vicariously through you, then you're not alive. You're just living. Like you're just living day to day, not really fulfilling your own purpose. And everybody has a purpose. And you have to be able to be brave enough to pick up the pen and tell your own story. Write your own story down. And this could be figuratively. Like you're meant to write your own story though. Like you're meant to decide where your pen goes and what you do with your pen and what happens next with your story. But in knowing what happens next with your story, you have to first decide and agree with whatever it is in yourself that is going to happen in your story. And that's one of the things I really spent time doing today. Like today was the first day that I ever talked about my dream car. I've never told anybody about what my dream car is, but then again, I've never actually had a dream car up until recently. And the reason why it's my dream car is because, for one, I've never thought about cars the way I thought about cars. I've never felt the way about a car that I feel about the car that is my dream car. And I've never gone as far to want to get the car that is my dream car, which is a Tesla. And I'm really going to get that car in X amount of days. But you'll see that later because I'm going to document that as well. But the point of this video is to make sure that we rewrite our stories. Make sure that you're rewriting your story and telling the story that you want to hear back to yourself. Like even if you have to practice in front of like a camera, make sure that you're telling yourself your own story. You're not listening to a story that was told to you over and over again by somebody who's not even living the story that they told you. They're telling you stuff based off what they think or feel based off what somebody else told them to think or feel, which means that they're not even a first-hand account of their own story or the story that they're giving to you. And that's not how you want to live. Like you want to live if you want to live a certain way, then listen to the stories of people who are in the place that you are seeking to go, and listen to the people that are in the place that you're seeking to go. Then you find that you're able to not necessarily follow in their footsteps, but be able to navigate your own path and decide where you want to go with your own path. And that'll help you along the way. Like it's like they're leaving breadcrumbs for you to see where you could be going or where you could go. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. Other than that, I want to say that I love you and I hope that you have a great day.